Hello there, everyone. Due to the current coronavirus situation, we have decided to move our show into a different direction. It's true that we have at home, but that doesn't mean we have to stop being a student report. So today we're going to have an interview with Lawrence, the spokesperson from the University of Twente. And I'm sure a lot of you had a lot of questions regarding what's going on and how to deal with this crisis in the mean situation. So you can keep watching and type down your questions. And at the end of the interview, you will get a chance for your questions to be answered. I am Summer, and welcome to Student Report Live. So at the beginning, I will start the interview with Lawrence, the spokesperson of the University of Twente.
Hey, Summer.
Hello there, Lawrence. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. I'm great. How is it going on for you with the corona?
Yeah, it's a weird times being at home, doing your work there, and not going to campus every day and meeting the students and meeting your colleagues. So it's a weird situation. Actually, I miss you guys and I miss being on campus. So
I can so feel related to this. Can you, at the beginning, tell us about yourself a little bit?
yeah, actually, I just started being the spokesperson for the executive boards last month because the initial spokesperson is on maternity leave. So I was actually thrown into the deep with this, and which is really challenging, but also rewarding when you can help make things work. Because the situation is very special, needs a lot of work. So I have a background. Actually, studied at the University of Twente. I have a background in public administration, and now I'm doing a bit of communication as well.
Okay. Can you at least tell us a bit about the general situation regarding the COVID-19 in the University of Twente and how the university is dealing with it so far?
Yeah. I can remember the first days that the virus was coming up in the Netherlands, and we were questioning ourselves, should we continue with the open days or not? And when just the first group of potential master students was on campus, then it was decided that everything had to be cancelled. So the first thing that we had to do was get someone to go into the big lecture room and send everybody home, which was a really weird experience. And basically that was the start, and after everything went really, really fast, we have set up a Corona crisis crisis team, central crisis team. People from all service departments are involved, people from the executive boards are involved, and from that we're trying to manage everything to go into a smooth way.
Yeah, you mentioned that there is the crisis team that's working on it now.
Yes, we are. We are having meetings, well, a little bit less frequent than in the start. At the start, I think we met daily and also still on campus. But now we're meeting every few days, discussing all the latest topics, what needs to be done, which decisions need to be made. So yeah, that's what we do basically now.
And may I know what is the leading for the deciding on the UT policy?
I think the main thing is safety. I mean, we're worried really about the coronavirus situation, about the vulnerable people in our society, sticking to the rules. That's basically what's top priority when it comes to organizing. And then after, there's a lot, of course. I mean, we have transformed the education into a whole online way of providing education, which has been a major task. People have done a great job in that, and that has also been one of the top priorities. And it's really amazing to see that just within 1 week, all lecturers, professors managed to set up a program, maybe not exactly like they had planned before, but at least offer online education. And that's amazing. And I also think one of the top priorities of making sure that we can offer that to students.
Yeah, I'm one of the students, of course, and I know. So as I said, as a student, I understand how the teachers are putting too much effort to provide the exams online and the syllabus. What do you foresee for the upcoming weeks, like timeline of the shutdown? What is the plan? What is the plan on continuing after the corona crisis?
Um, it's a bit hard to predict how the future will be regarding all the measures that are taken from the national government. There's a lot of scenarios on what might happen or what might be done. I can remember a quote from the famous scientist Niels Bohr, who said, "It's very difficult to predict, uh, especially the future." Um, and that's what we see here as well. We know that measures might be less strict in the future, but when they are, it might also take a while to get things started um, again. And also, not everything will be the same as we used to do it before the corona virus situation arose. So also in that way, we sort of have to reinvent ourselves on how are we going to deal with the new situation. Sometimes they call it the 1.5 meter distance society. Yeah, there's still a lot of questions, and we don't have all the answers yet.
So still, it's not known yet if it's going to be into phases gradually or it will start all at once like it used to be.
It is clear that we have to restart everything in phases and make priorities on what we do first and what we do second. For instance, if you look into the research that we do in the laboratory on the university, once that measures get less strict, we can't just let everybody in and have everything up to the level that it was before. You really have to see what are we going to do first, how we can get a few researchers in doing their research, and then maybe you can expand. The same goes, of course, for the education. I can imagine that once we are allowed to come back to campus again and do educational activities there, first we do the things that with the highest priorities. There's people who have to do their practical assignments, some kind of exams that are probably easier to do physically on campus. I can imagine those being the activities that we're doing first, and then afterwards do all the things that we also would like to do together with each other on campus.
I wish us all good luck with that. So
Yeah, it's really a tough job getting everything done, getting everything organized, but also making something that's understandable for everyone. I mean, it's a
yeah,
very complex situation in a complex world with a lot of uncertainty, and we're trying to bring a little bit of certainty in that, and also be clear about the things that we don't know.
yeah, true. So you mentioned about research, but to be specific, do you have any idea about the research the University of Twente itself is doing about the COVID-19?
Yeah, there's a lot of research activity related to the coronavirus.
Yeah,
It has been a lot in the news that from the TechMed Center, they are working on respiratory systems that could be helpful in case all the emergency rooms are overcrowded. That's one research.
yeah,
There's colleagues at the BMS faculty who help the healthcare organizations in the logistics. So how can they organize everything now that they have to change the way they work? Now they're being held with new restrictions. And we also see that for the upcoming phases, researchers are thinking along on how we can do the tracking app that the national government has announced they will have. They are thinking along on privacy matters. They are thinking along on more technical matters. And for a bit longer term, there's also researchers who are working on um, uh, new ways of testing for coronavirus or related viruses in an easy and convenient way. Because one of the problems that we are facing now as a society, not just in the Netherlands but worldwide, is that we can't do enough testing. And so we also have researchers who are actually thinking along how can we improve that by offering easy and maybe portable types of testing.
Okay, I appreciate. Thank you. That was very helpful. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. So these were my questions. Let's see if the audience have any questions for you.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Hi there, my name is Dennis. I'm usually behind the camera, and now I'm in front. And I'm going to get you questions. So if any of the audience has questions, please type them into the questions next to the chat, and we can ask Laurens about them. So we have already one question. The crisis team seems to be mostly following the government and other universities in terms of the COVID-19 measures. Should we continue to expect this going forward? So, or is the university actually going to make decisions on their own?
We are collaborating a lot with the other universities on what should be done, because we all experience the same kind of problems. For example, if you see the issue on how can you do exams online, we work in that together, and we try to find out suitable ways for that together, because in the end we all need to do the same in that. So yes, we do make our own policy. We do decide on our own what's best and what's also fits best for our situation, because not every university is the same. But we are also trying to collaborate as much as possible to also have some kind of equal playing field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this already really answers the first of the other question they are asking, if the universities are collaborating. So that is the case. Universities are really working together, thus creating a nice connection between
yes, and what's also really nice to mention is the fact that as universities together, we discuss with the Ministry of Education on what they can do. So we do bundle and combine all issues that we ran into and ask them how can we do, what's your role as national government, and I think that's really helpful. It's a more stronger voice on all the problems that we see in the way we're dealing with the crisis.
Mm-hmm. So there is another question from our audience. Do you think the exams right now are harder because the education is online, or do you know anything about that?
I don't know if the exams are harder, because what our programs are supposed to do is look, what do we expect our students to have, which level do we expect them to have at the end? And we're trying to keep up to the standards that we've been having before. But yes, for some students, it might be really difficult to do their education online. I mean, it sometimes takes a different mindset. And so it can be harder for some of us.
Yeah, so that, and I think there is another question of, and I think this is a really relevant one, because you hear this a lot in student circles. Do you have any guesses when the education will start again? When we have again physical education, will this be in September, or will it be already in July or June, or will it be in 2021?
Yeah. As a university, we announced that until the 1st of June, we are not having any education on campus. That's one thing that's for sure. And if you ask me personally, but that's not the UT saying, I don't expect any educational activities on campus to happen. I think you're really looking into the next academic year, which is basically September, for new activities being held on campus for education.
Okay, that is really interesting. I hope as soon as possible, of course, because it's really nice and we're starting to miss people. And then there is another question. For international students, how much do we have to worry about the MOMI requirements?
Could you explain what the MOMI is? I'm not familiar with all abbreviations.
Yeah, I have the same question actually. I'm also not an international student. Could the person ask the question please explain what MOMI is in the chat? Because well, we don't know the abbreviation. We'll use MOMI. The MOMI.
So MOMI is one of the requirements that you need to achieve for the visa for your visa to be like the IND, the immigration gave us a student visa. So the MOMI is requirements that you have to achieve.
Yeah.
Like score.
Okay.
You have to achieve specific score.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, we work together with the other universities and discussing with the Ministry of Education on issues that we ran into. And this is such a specific issue that we discuss on a national level. But in the end, because in the end, we need organizations like IND to ensure that we can let this run smooth. And what I see from our experience is that these kind of organizations are really willing to think along on what do we run into and how can we solve it in a sensible manner. So I do see some positive developments there. I'm not sure about the exact status on that.
Okay, yeah, it's an interesting one, and hopefully the internationals get answers as soon as possible, of course. Are there any other questions? I saw one question about the students still can ask questions to TAs. Well, I think I can answer that one. I think this is dependent on your study, right? How the connection is between your teacher assistants and the connection with the students. Do you know anything about that?
You mean if you want to transfer from a bachelor to a master?
No, for the TAs or teacher assistants, for example, that can help you with assignments. I know for my study, for example, we have connection with our TAs via online platforms, but this is really dependent per study, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think teachers sometimes have to reinvent the way that they organize their and some like other ways of communication and working together than others. So it's really a personal and program defined way. That's my view on it.
Great. And then there was a question about will there be any effect on the September 2020 intake? Will it be, for example, like postponed? I imagine when you have, for example, these tests at university.
Yeah, it's really hard to look forward to September 2020 when it comes to intake. What we do see is that a lot of students who might want to study at the University of Twente, but it goes basically for students everywhere who want to study abroad, that they are experiencing problems in, for instance, doing a language test. As it used to be that you have to do the language test on a physical location somewhere. All these tests were cancelled, so there's some delay in that. There's also other types of situations that cause delay. And there's also maybe people who are a little bit hesitating to go abroad at the moment as they don't know what the situation will be like. So yes, there will definitely be an effect on the September intake, but how big that will be, it's really hard to predict for us at the moment.
Yeah, so I think this question is really linked to that. Are there any changes in the UT admission requirement process for new students for the next academic year, like the bachelor students?
There has been no change in the requirements when it comes to the level that they need to achieve. But when you talk about the procedure, some of the deadlines have been moved a little in time to give students the opportunity to ensure they get all the requirements and they get all their documents right. So yeah, there is some room for delays there. When it comes to the requirements and what standards you need to get, nothing has changed in that because yeah, when you're doing a university program, then you need to be at a certain level to make sure that in the end you can also succeed.
Okay. And then there was a question about is the university planning on rolling out any financial support to students during these strange times?
We do see that a lot of students are struggling with the financial situations. A lot of people can't do their jobs. They might be international students who can't receive the money either because uh, um, there are problems transferring the money, or they might have parents who actually are in a financial as well. So we really see this happening, and yeah, we can't solve everything. That's first, and of course we would like to. We have been talking to the Ministry of Education. I also said there's a responsibility on a national level to ensure there's financial aid. There are some kind of possibilities from DO, the finance organization for Dutch or for students in the Netherlands, but they might not be sufficient for all students. In any case, we advise students who are experiencing financial problems to discuss them with their study advisor. And it's not for everyone a thing to do because they feel, oh, I don't want to put my financial problems on the table with my study advisor, with my university. But if you are experiencing these kind of problems, please do, and they can also see if they can provide any help that might help their students.
Okay, that's a really good advice, especially for students who have difficulty with their payments and stuff.
Yes,
I think
and also if you're having problems with, for example, paying the rent, don't wait until the problem is really big and you can't do anything anymore. Um, be open about it, talk about it, and together with organizations or to family, you can look for solutions. It's always better than just leaving it as it is, and then when it's a real big problem, try to tackle
yeah, that's really good advice. I think especially during these times, I think like companies will and businesses will be open to negotiate. I think
it.
we
Definitely.
hear some companies around that are really open for this. So. Then there is a question: is it guaranteed that the new academic year will start for sure in September, or even if not, as always, then online for sure?
Um, yeah, certain is a hard word, but we are definitely aiming at having the start of the new academic year in September. But then again, we also have to see what measures will be taken from the national government, will evolve to see whether that's really doable. But it seems that it is doable to start the new academic year as planned.
Okay. Okay. I think. Oh, there are more questions coming in. Oh. There is one. Do you think it will be possible to host physical exams for small groups if students are placed at appropriate distance from each from one another? I saw a similar thing on the news where a foreign country they did the exam on a football field with the tables far apart from each other. Do you think that's a possibility for the University of Twente as well?
This is typically an example of that we have to think about what is the new 1.5 meter distance society. We have said to our students that we don't expect them to be back on campus before the 1st of June, which means for the short term, we will not be introducing these kind of things. But I can imagine for the period afterwards that of Twente as well. We really have to find out if we can find suitable ways to do that. Yeah.
Okay, then there is again a question about financials. Since all facilities are closed in those few months, which of course save the university money, is it possible to have any deduction on a tuition fee next semester?
Well, I'm not sure if this actually saves the UT money because all the costs that we're having are actually continuing. I mean, yes, there are costs that we don't have now. I mean, everyone drinks their coffee at home, so no, we don't have to fill up the coffee machines, of course. But still, a lot of costs still keep on running. So it's not that we're getting rich as a university just because of everybody working and studying at home. I'm objecting to the fact that we're actually saving money on that. Actually, the investments that we have to do to ensure that we can offer online education, that also takes quite a lot of our investments. So in the end, there might even be a negative balance for us. We do understand that a lot of students are asking about can I have a reduction on my tuition fee and can I get some of my money back? What we would like to aim at first is ensuring that you get good education, and that when you get a degree here, you've had proper education and you're up to a good standard that fits the university degree. So that's our main focus, um, and we're really working along with students to ensure that they can actually receive the quality of education that they would like to.
Yeah, okay, that's a good answer. Then there is a really question. Do you think the kick-in will happen again? Of course, one of the main events for the new students.
Yeah, I was part of it, so it was.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, do you think it will happen this year?
Yeah.
I can see you smiling, and I think in that there is also the importance of these kind of events, because it really gives you the opportunity to meet the new students. Most of the times you don't know anyone. You're going to a weird city that you know nothing about, where you know no one. So yeah, we're really hoping to have a kick in some kind of form. But then again, this is also something that really needs to be worked out in the coming weeks and months to see what's possible there.
Yeah, I hope so. It would be so nice to have again a kick-in on campus. It just
We
makes
can just hope.
yeah, it's just one of the most beautiful things to happen when you start with your student life, or for me, it was at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Even
I can remember as well. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay, let's mix the three of us. Let's hope
yeah.
for it.
Okay. These seem to be the questions for now. Laurens, thank you very much for being here. It was a pleasure talking to you and answering these questions. I think for our audience it was really
You're welcome.
informative. Um, for our audience, I think
Thank you for everything.
are going to continue with some polls because, of course, one part of this is that we actually also connect with you as the audience. So we made a few polls, and if you can answer them, we can have a chat about it. So we had a first poll about where did you find out, and now we have a poll about did the coronavirus affect your study in any negative way, and we see people filling them in, so they slowly change, and I will wait a few seconds. Um, and it seems that the majority is actually says no, the coronavirus did not affect your study in any negative way. Now it's slowly shifting. For the people who did affect it in a negative way, do they want to explain in the chat, for example, why it did that? Because it's interesting to hear because it seems that a lot of people actually have a different opinion on this.
I cannot see how much the percentage exactly. How much is it for no?
We can just fill the in the poll as well,
And
and
yes.
then it shows up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. Good question from Marijn. How has it affected your studies, the coronavirus? Um, was it um, was it in a negative way, or even maybe even in a positive way? Did it open up stuff? So one of you said it, all the practical work in lab is impossible now. So that's one of the effects. Yeah. Actually, I experienced that. I don't know if you have any practicals in your studies, Samar, but for me, it did affect it in a way so that we actually got labs at home, so we had to build our own lab setup with our components we have. But did you have any like these practicals at home?
Well, actually, I feel like because I have nothing else to do due to the corona, I cannot go anywhere, but it actually helped with the studying. It saved time.
Really?
You can organize yourself better, even do some activities during the day. But it helped me.
Yeah, yeah. I must admit, I had actually the same thing. For example, when we had these math classes, and we always had them in the late afternoon, which was a terrible time to have math classes. So now you can do them in the morning. For me, it was more effective to actually follow those classes.
It helped you.
Yeah, yeah. So
Let's
yeah,
see from
for
that
me, it
point
was
of
really
view.
nice. So there are more polls. So let's see what you answer. Do you still connect with your friend? I think one of the most important things is to stay connected, and they even the main carriers advertise it that you have to stay connected. And 29% right now says yes, we are still connected, and 71 is yes, with less than before. But what are ways that you connect with your friends? How do you keep up with each other? For example, Samara, how do you connect with your friends right now?
Hmm. Sometimes we do a lot of video calls actually during the day because even my friends here and my friends outside, so I'm used to this webcam ways to contact my friends during Skype or Google Hangouts. But I will say it's not as before.
Yeah, okay, that is fair. Do you also have like, for example, do you meet up physically, which is of course not allowed in certain form, but is there, do you do it sometimes, or is it just no physical meeting at all?
Sometimes, like because it's not allowed to be more than three in a
Hmm.
group. So sometimes I meet one or two at a time, but it's quick
Yeah.
usually.
So it's not as like it was before the coronavirus, just having the.
Yeah. No, but it's a must. Like you cannot just stay all day at home. What do you do like during your day
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't have studying to do?
yeah. That is fair, of course. That is really fair.
Yeah,
But there seems to be that there is no one here that does not connect with their friends. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. You stay connected with each other.
keep it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Just stay connected. That's really important. So, and then there was the question: do you still do sports? And 38% of you right now still does it. And 36, 33, 63 numbers don't do it anymore. I have to admit, I don't do a lot of sports anymore. It's really hard.
Don't ask me.
But if there are people in the that are here right now, how do you do it at home? Just please type it in the chat if you have any suggestions from what would be the best ways to do this at home. Because while I'm struggling with it, I don't know about you, Samar, but for me it's really difficult.
I feel you. But I've seen on Instagram there's like some videos on some workouts that you can do at home.
Yeah, yeah.
No motivation at all for me.
No,
It's
no.
not
For
working
me,
out
for
for
me,
me.
it's like, oh, and then I have to start doing it. But I see here there's a resistance band. Oh yeah, and these things I know I've
Oh,
saw them. Yeah,
yeah.
with ooh, that's that's a hard work. And it says yoga. Oh, yes, we have the same problem. Somebody has says he I have a yoga mat, and weight exercises, push-ups, and the like. Can't find the motivation anymore. No, we I feel you. It's not doable. It's yeah, for some it might be doable, but you have to be really motivated. I think a part of going to the gym is actually that you push yourself to really start doing this. And then we have the question of are you able to fill your days? And most of you seem to be actually be able to do it, so that's really good. So you have found activities to fill your days. So, for example, I can do sports, but I have like other hobby projects I like to work on. Samar, how for example, do you fill your days right now?
I just finished my exams this week, so I'll start planning for next week from now maybe. Still don't have an idea how, but I will work it out somehow. There's always things to do at home.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel how that is. There is always something you find and it's like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah, you can keep yourself busy.
Yeah. And then there is the poll. If you took up any new hobbies, and quite a few of you. I don't know how many people filled it in because I can't see it, but right now the percentage is like 40% actually did pick up some new hobbies, and 6% um, didn't, but they actually picked up an old one. So I'm really
Hmm.
interested from our audience and also from you. What are your hobbies right now? What is keeping you busy? Keeping you cooking as you
Enjoying.
mentioned, drawing.
Sometimes I do draw. So
Nice.
I guess now that I have plenty of time, I can go back to that.
Oh, that's a really nice hobby. Yeah, I like to fiddle around with tiny electronics, but drawing, that's it. And what do you draw then? Is it
Whatever.
landscapes
But
or
I
fantasy
have to just
figures?
look at it. I have to just place it in front of me and then start drawing. But it's
No,
not
just
like
just
trees. It's usually people or objects, like not
oh,
nature.
nice. So
I
so just
like it.
out of your mind, out of your creativity, you create a scene, for example.
No, no, no. I have to place it in front of me and then start drawing it.
Ah,
But
okay,
cooking, I
nice.
would like to keep it up and improve myself. No one says
Yeah.
no for food. So you too, you should work out on your cooking skills. It will help you.
That's a good one. Yeah. So, well, I actually didn't prepare a meal today, so I do some cooking still, but I have to
Oh,
do it. It's not that I am free to do it. I have to. Um,
it's a must.
so there's one and we know this guy, and he said I used to do a video project as a job, so now I do it as a hobby again. Empty spaces are a lot of fun to shoot a video of, and I don't agree with the empty spaces shooting video, but it is fun to shoot videos. Well, of course, he's our old host, our old student report host who just left. Sadly, last video was we have a new host right now. It's Samar. But Kane also did some great work
Yeah.
here for us. So it's really cool that he joined in as well. Are there any
Yeah.
more polls? No, we're actually also out of polls, which means that we are probably at the end of our live stream, which is sad. Oh, there
It
is one
was
more
fun.
message. Um, it was really fun for us. It was a trial, so we don't know if we can come back. Probably, but we don't know. We have to discuss this in our next meeting. It was so much fun doing this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we can see you next time in our live stream. And thank you, and have a really
We
great
are we
evening.
are welcoming their feedbacks though.
Yeah,
We need to know exactly how you guys, if you have any idea, if you want to share some stories also. Next episode, if we will do it, you can also join us on stage. If you would like to share an interesting story or whatever, you can join us on stage.
absolutely. So if you have an interesting story, just send us an email via our email address for student report. Um, and then maybe next time you can be with us on stage as well.
Looking forward.
Looking forward to that. Okay. Bye bye, guys. Have a
Thank you
nice
everyone
evening.
for watching. Bye.